Ladies and gentlemen of the overworld, creepers and skeletons of the night, allies from the deepest fortresses of the nether, and wandering traders who somehow always show up at the worst times. Today is not just another page in Minecraft history. Today is the obliteration of a dark chapter. I, also known as Jackson, ruler of dimensions, slayer of ancient evils, and demolisher of false empires, have brought modern wrath to an outdated evil. The Woodland mansion, once feared, once respected, once crawling with pillagers, evokers, and that one and only illusion. It stood tall in the forest like a smug monument to tyranny. But no longer. Armed with the cutting-edge machinery of Tacz by a crept Team Tolo, riding on aircraft that shouldn't even exist in Minecraft bedrock, but they do now because I made them exist. I rained down justice from the skies like a modern-day wither god with a degree in aerospace engineering. This wasn't just a raid. This was a cleansing. When I arrived, the sky cracked open. Thunder echoed, not because of a storm, but because my engines roared with the fury of progress. The pillagers looked up, and in their last moments, they didn't see a blade. They saw shades, piloting a heavily armed. I hit them with missiles. I hit them with rockets. Mulch. He fainted. And that, my fellow block beings, speed and modern Today, the pillagers have been humbled. Today, the Woodland mansion is gone, turned into a crater of freedom and postmodern abstract art. This is not the end. This is only the beginning of my new campaign. Then rotors began to roar. A shadow sliced through the sky like a blade through butter. The trees shivered, not from wind, but from fear. And far beneath, nestled deep within the forest like a parasite, stood a structure too proud for its own good. The Woodland mansion. Dark. Massive. Overconfident. Infested with twisted creatures armed with axes, totems, and arrogance. But their time was over. This was no random raid. This wasn't some iron sword run with a shield and bread. This was warfare evolved. Hovering above, an Apache helicopter, fully armed, fully prepped, spun its twin blades as the HUD locked on to wooden walls below. Inside, chaos began. Pillagers screamed, evokers scrambled, and vindicators prayed to whatever pixelated god they believed in. Too late. The first missile landed. The mansion shook. A tower collapsed like a poorly built dirt house in a creeper blast. And then, came the full assault. From the side doors of the Apache, twin-vector submachine guns unleashed a blizzard of firepower. Quick, surgical, ruthless. Walls became dust. Pillagers barely had time to scream before getting lit up like torches in a cave. Close behind came the thunder of a G3 battle rifle, snapping off rounds with precision. One shot per target. No misses. Even those hiding behind reinforced walls got no mercy. The bullets cut through wood and willpower alike. Inside the cockpit, the operator wore diamond light of gunfire and flames. Not enchanted. No magic tricks. Just raw instinct. A warrior trained for chaos. A pilot born for destruction. A destroyer made for this moment. The helicopter rotated midair, spinning sideways for a strafing run. Miniguns opened up. The mansion's front was torn off like the lid of a can. Bookshelves exploded. Beds were incinerated. Chests spilled loot onto the burning floor, only to be turned into ash seconds later. Inside the mansion, panic turned to despair. Evokers summoned fangs, pointless. Vindicators rushed with axes, foolish. Even the rare illusioner tried to cast confusion, but the thermal targeting system saw everything. Nothing could hide. Nothing could run. And nothing could stop what was coming. The aircraft dropped altitude. Landing gear extended. A hard landing smashed a log bench in half. And then, silence returned. The side door slid open. Boots hit the ground. Diamond armor reflected the surrounding flames. In one hand, the Vector still steamed from the last burst. In the other, the G3 reloaded with high precision. No words were spoken. There. I destroyed the mansion using modern technology and precise tactics. Armed with my Vector and G3 guns, I moved through the dark corridors wearing diamond armor, prepared for whatever stood in my way. The mansion seemed imposing and well defended, but my skill and equipment made quick work of it. I carried an RPG as a backup, but it was unnecessary. My shots from the Vector and G3 were enough to bring down the enemies and weaken the structure. Each shot counted. Quick, sharp bursts from the Vector and powerful, steady fire from the G3 tore through wood and armor alike. The enemies tried to resist, swinging axes and firing crossbows, but they were no match for the firepower and precision I commanded. I stayed silent and deadly, moving like a shadow, unseen and unstoppable. When ammunition began to run low, I switched tactics. I used flint and steel to set fire to the mansion, letting the flames consume what was left standing. The fire spread fast through the wooden beams, banners, and floors, turning the once majestic structure into a blazing inferno. Smoke rose high above the trees, a signal that everything inside was burning, everything was lost. The mansion's defenses were strong, but fire is an enemy that cannot be stopped once it takes hold. It crackled and roared, breaking down walls and ceilings, forcing enemies to flee or perish in the flames. This was not a random attack or reckless destruction. It was a calculated strike, a show of power using modern weapons and a clear strategy. No magic spells were needed, no chaotic explosions, just skill, determination, and the right tools. The destruction was precise and complete, leaving nothing but ashes and smoke behind. The enemies never expected such efficiency. They believed their walls and numbers could protect them, but I proved otherwise. Their fortress is now a ruin, a reminder of how technology and fire can bring down even the strongest defenses. The mansion is dead because of modern technology, because of guns that never miss and fire that never stops. I came, I fought, and I burned. No mercy, no hesitation. Just destruction through skill and firepower. This is the future of battle, calm, precise, and unstoppable. It's not about loud explosions or flashy magic, it's about knowing your weapon and using it to its fullest potential. The Vector and G3 guns are more than tools, they are extensions of my will, instruments of devastation. The RPG is a threat that looms, keeping enemies on edge, but it was the flint and steel that delivered the final blow. The quiet spark that started the fire was the death knell for the mansion. As the flames consumed every last corner, I stood ready, diamond armor shining, guns loaded, eyes sharp. No enemy escaped my assault. No room remained untouched. The mansion's collapse was total, a testament to modern warfare's efficiency.